Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I know it's been like forever. I haven't posted in like a month. But honestly, I've just been like stressed out. I've been working a lot of hours, and granted, some of this stress is self-imposed for sure. But yeah, I just wanted to do like a video and just talk about like some of the things that I've just been experiencing, some of the things that I've been going through. This doesn't have like a particular topic or subject, but honestly, I find that people resonate more with the videos where I'm just kind of like rambling and I am speaking organically and from the heart. Those are like the videos where I get the most comments or the most, responses from, where just people resonate. And honestly, I just, for whatever reason, I've been getting a surge in like subscribers. I mean, I'm not like, super high. I have like 185 subscribers, but I've been like, I was at like 160 or something. I don't know. I just got like a couple. So I was like, oh wow, okay. And I've been getting more comments. So I'm like, well, I guess that's like a push for me to do a video. Plus I pulled my like self-care tarot, and it was like allow yourself time for meaningful projects, and like that's like my only project is YouTube. But yeah, so I guess I kind of want to start off with like career and just like things that I've just been experiencing that's just making me like feel weirdly in different ways. So one, if you guys haven't seen like old videos, if you're your first time watching, I just got a job at like one of the biggest firms in the world, and I didn't really put much thought into that beyond that. Just like I was just like, oh my god, I'm so excited to work with the best of the best, to work at the top, like to grow, to become sharp, you know what I mean? That was pretty much it. That was like really the only thought that I put into it. I was just so excited. And and not that I'm not excited, not that these people aren't brilliant, because they are beyond brilliant. I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to grow. I mean, I thought like quitting my job and then getting asked to come back and then quitting again, and then coming to the top firm. I'm like, yeah, I can do anything, you know what I mean? Like I'm the best of the best. And then you get humbled. You're like, ooh, whoa, I have way more to learn, And so that is something that is important to have, is humility, and just realize that, you could be great, but you might be a big fish in a small pond. And I'm not saying like I was like a big fish in a small pond, but I was great, but you know what I mean? Like now I'm a small fish in a big pond again. So that's one thing I've really been struggling with. It's just like, oh god, I've been like having like panic attacks because I'm making mistakes, and stuff isn't clicking right. Like, you get so used to doing your old job and knowing that firm inside and out, and then when you go to a new firm, you realize you have so much to learn, and they have different processes, they have different nuances. It's just a whole different experience, and that can be intimidating, and it can be like a kind of like an ego death, if you will, because it's just like, oh god, will I ever get to this point? Will I ever be brilliant? And especially working at like a top firm, because a lot of top firms, they do get rid of their like bottom 5%. And not to say that I feel like I'm gonna perform at the bottom 5%, no, because I think I had like a hell of a win. Like within like my first 2 weeks, I had made this like timeline calendar, and the partner really liked it, and they wanted to use it in the deck for the EO office. So it was like a hell of a win for me. But I do like, by nature, if you have a type A personality, you compare yourself a lot, especially, and I think that's something that I underestimated, is just being in an environment filled with type A people who are driven, who work harder than, it's like being in a room with a bunch of me's times 30. Okay, so I just been struggling with my self-esteem in relation to my work, in relation to like my potential, what I can do. It's just really been something I've been struggling with. And people always say like, don't put a question mark where God put a period, but that's just something that I've really been questioning. It's like, is this really where I'm supposed to be? Can I survive here? Can I make it through here? Am I smart enough? Am I strong enough? Am I quick enough? You know what I mean? Those are just like, it's just what it is. And I made a video on imposter syndrome, and so that's just something, one, I've been dealing with. Two, culture. Right? And I think this is actually more like culture based in location. So I work with a lot of New Yorkers, and East Coast people tend to be elitist. Let's just be real. I'm actually from Fort Washington, but I claim Texas. I consider myself a Texan. So I have kind of like the Southern hospitality. If you go down to the South, people are friendly, people are nice. Granted, if they don't like you, it's going to be a bit more passive or kind of be behind the scenes. And I will say that's one thing that you can appreciate with East Coast, is that if they don't like you, they don't, really care for you, you will know. If they feel some type of way, you will certainly know. It's just like a stark difference difference. And especially because I worked with New Yorkers at my old job, but I think the culture was more monolithic at my firm. And so working at a top firm, it is very diverse. And so you're working with like people from different countries, people with different cultures, and just like people all over. It's global. And so you don't really have a monolithic culture there. You're working with strong personalities and just different personalities across the board. And so I think that's been an adjustment. And not to say that I didn't appreciate it at my old job, but I underestimated how much I would miss that, or how much, you know, what a big value that was. And that was something that I learned when my internship is just like, I had to work at a place where I like the culture is great. And so here it's not so much that it matters so much, because my job is very dynamic. It's no day is the same. I don't really have like a set consistent set of tasks, and I think that's what does make you sharper here. And I'm really here to just build skills, because ultimately I want to be a consultant. I don't plan on doing like being here forever. I think maybe like 1 to 3 years max, and I want to go into consulting, or if that comes quicker, that's what I want to do. But I definitely have a lot of skills to learn, and I have a lot to grow and to build and to be better, and especially pertaining to strategy. That is something that I'm learning a lot here. So like I have to kind of like just look past the culture, because when it comes to just how much I really have to learn, how much I really have to grow, that's really minuscule. I'm really here to just get what I need to learn, you know what I mean, to grow and to expand and to be to take it to the next level. So another thing is being a woman in the workplace. And I don't know if people really talk about this, if people really speak on this, or experiences. I know I've had very small experiences, and I'm not saying that it's really strong now, but like at my old job, I remember when I was an intern, we had like our, like, you know, we flew out to New York and stuff, and there was other interns there, and there were guys, and they, you know, they made inappropriate comments, and, you know, I just kind of like ignored it and, you know, just worked, because that's kind of like, that is the nature of experience for most women, because I think we get this fear, at least for me, it's like, you know, you don't want to rock the boat, you know, and I think that's what's hard about being a woman, that people don't talk about, or at least if they talk about it, I find that people don't talk about it till the end of their career, or, you know, when they're older and, you know, they went through it, or, you know, like a Monica Lewinsky situation after it happens, and you want to tell everybody like, hey, don't do this because this is what I had to go through. And it's like, okay, but like, what about in the moment? And so like I always say, like I really want to use my channel to help women to speak on experiences and just to resonate, and so you know that you're not alone. And thankfully I haven't had that many experiences. Most of my interviews have always been with women, to be honest. Like even when I was interviewing for this job, I interviewed with like 5 women before I even got to a guy, and I interviewed with 2 guys, but they were like the MD, so it was like really like it was like way down the interview line anyway, so I had to make it past, you know, like 6 people before I get to that. And so like I haven't really had that many experiences. Like I said, I had like that one experience as an intern, but they were interns too, so it didn't really matter. Well, not interns, this was actually like after we came back full time, but you know, we were like in the pipeline program, so we're like analysts, so you know, it's like, you know, you consider yourself pretty much an intern, so it didn't, you know what I mean, it's just like they're your age, so you don't really put a lot of stock into it. So I think as you get older, and in particular, I've been hit on, and so they're not gonna actually come out and say it. They're gonna be very discreet, because these are powerful rich men. But I have found myself receiving some unsolicited attention. And like for me, what I try to do is just ignore it. And it is very hard dynamic to navigate, because, you know, like I said, you don't want to rock the boat. And as a woman, you really have to make sure that you're prioritizing what's important, because a pretty face is like everywhere, right? I'm pretty, a million girls are pretty, and you're not going to be the first and you're not going to be the last. And typically if these men are doing it to you, then they're doing it to other people. So, you know, it can be flattering, right? It's like, oh, these men are powerful and they're rich, and you know, if you're like, I mean, I think most women want like a successful man, right? And I think that's one thing that is hard with work, is that those lines do get blurred. If you're kind of like a workaholic, then a lot of times you do find love in the workplace. This isn't going to be the first. I mean, hell, we think about Hillary Clinton. Well, I mean, granted, they didn't find love. I mean, not Hillary Clinton, but Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, they didn't find love. Okay, that was a sexual affair. But I mean, you know what I mean? It's just the nature. It's just a dynamic that a lot of people go through, a lot of people experience. How I've heard stories, and it's just what people go through. But it is like you have to measure what's important and look at it from like realistically, right? Like these men are going to try. These men are definitely going to I mean, they can get away with it, like, and that's kind of like the harsh reality, is that especially if you're dealing with men in powerful positions or rich positions, is that if it comes down to it, it's always going to be them before you. So just keep that in mind, you know, wherever you're at, like a lot of times it is going to be them before you. But two, just like, you know, I hate to say it, but just know that you're not the first and you're not the last. And so, you know, it can get easy to get caught up and be flattered and stuff, but you have to realize that your career is more important, your reputation is more important, and you just have to focus on that. And so like I ignore emails when I find like I feel like I'm getting a feeling of unsolicited attention. Now, like I said, they're not going to be like come right out and be direct with it. They're going to try to feel you out to see if you'll jump, or if you'll respond, and then try to take it a step further. And so I think that's just something that I didn't really factor in, you know. And I'm not saying like it's just overwhelming or anything, but it is just something that is uncomfortable, because I never experienced it with like a man within a position of power. I've only experienced it with like, we're on the same thing, so it's easy to be like, no, it's not happening, because you really don't have anything to lose. And so, and it's a different dynamic to deal with, because at the same time, you know, these are men who are, like I said, they're powerful, and so, you know, you just don't know. And so you don't know how they'll respond. So I just try to do the ignoring stage, and I think it's just important to talk about that and to speak on those experiences, because they are uncomfortable. You do go through a variety of feelings, and it's something that a lot of women experience, and a lot of women don't speak on. They don't talk about, you know, getting inappropriate comments or unsolicited comments, or unsolicited attention, or, you know, just like it's just different. So that's something I've just been experiencing like within work, and then just like my own self-esteem, like I said, just going back to like wondering if I can measure, if I can perform, if I'm meant to be here. Is this really something that I'm supposed to be at? And that's the worst part, because I know that I'm supposed to be here, because I've been wanting to work at this firm for like a long time, y'all. And two, I've interviewed with them like, I don't know, 4 times. Like the first time I had interviewed for like internal audit, and I didn't get that, which I understand now, because the position that I'm in is actually like a position that is really going to help me grow and build. And I don't think I really, you know, looking back on it, I would really have wanted to do internal audit, but that was when I was kind of like still thinking I was supposed to go the accounting route. And so I see why God, like, he was like, no, this isn't the position for you. And it's crazy, because I had asked my psychic, you guys know I have a psychic, I was like, am I supposed to work? I was like, do you see me getting this job? Do you see this being an opportunity? Should I leave my current job? And she's like, yes. And I didn't get it. So I was like, I guess not. She was like way ahead, and that's something with my psychic. She's always like seeing like years in advance before I can see something. I'm like, what the freak? And then you know, after like my whole job thing, I had interviewed, but then I was like, I'm gonna turn you guys down because I want to go back to my old job. And then I interviewed again and I got it. So it's just like, I know I'm supposed to be here. I know that God put a lot of, I mean, I even wrote in my notes like before I even got the job, like, I'm going to go work here. So I know that God wants me here. I know that it's a door that he opened for me. I know that it's an incredible opportunity for me. But I've just been struggling with my own self-esteem, my own self-worth, and that's just been making me have, you know, panic attacks and anxiety attacks, because you know, and this also is just triggered, right? Like I speak about my my experiences with my mother. My mother is like a perfectionist, and she's a very strong personality. You know, she could be very abusive, and she'll verbally degrade you, especially if she finds you to be stupid, or you're doing something stupid, or she feels like you're dumb. She'll literally make you feel like an idiot, and just try to degrade your entire self-worth, you know, like comments, it doesn't take a GED to figure it out, and you're an idiot, and you're never never gonna do anything in life, and you do that, you're gonna fuck up everything. And those are just comments that I grew up hearing, and those are just like, those create, you know, childhood wounds. And so for me, when I find myself making a mistake, I talk to myself like that. I speak to myself like that. I'm like, oh, you're an idiot, you're stupid. I put a lot of shame and guilt onto myself, and so that create like my panics, my anxiety attacks, my own stress. And that's why I said like self-imposed stress, because like that's just what I grew up, and that's what I'm used to, and that's how I feel that I'm supposed to talk to myself. And I have to remind myself to give myself grace, to give myself love, and to be kind to myself, you know. And I think that's just important for everybody, is to be kind to yourself, to give yourself grace to make mistakes, to give yourself grace to learn, because when you give yourself grace, you can give others grace. And so, you know, my mom clearly never got grace from her mom, because this is like generational trauma. So she was abused, so you know, by nature she abused me. And so I'm trying to fix that which also leads me to like my next thing. So with all of this like stress and anxiety that I've been feeling, and just like my own triggers and my own childhood wounds popping up, I had got into it with my best friend. I don't say got into it, but we had like a disagreement. And you know, she basically told me like, it's like you're having your own panic attack and your own stress and anxiety, and then you're magnifying this situation, versus like, you know, if I was balanced and my energy was clear, my energy was clean, then I wouldn't have felt any type of way, because we had conversations like this all the time. And then she recommended that I get a therapist and at first I was really pissed off, because I was like, I don't need a therapist, I need you to be considerate and understanding to my feelings. Which is stupid, because I had planned on getting a therapist, and then I just like, I don't know, like life just got up and I just didn't. I think that's another thing, is that we often find that if we need a therapist, then that means we're crazy, and that we're, you know, emotionally off and stuff. And like after I calm down, after I relax, I'm like, you know, I probably do need a therapist because I have experienced a great deal. I'm not say like, oh, I've experienced the most trauma from anybody, but I have experienced a lot. I've been, you know, molested by, you know, family members, and my parents pretty much never talked to me about it. They just kind of hoped that never would pop up again. You know, I've been physically abused, I've been bullied, I had like a narcissist boyfriend for like the last, you know, 2.5 years, and didn't even realize it. And so, you know, that just by nature, that creates a lot of trauma, creates a lot of wounds. And we can do the best that we can to, you know, ourselves. And don't get me wrong, I have done a lot. I've made tremendous progress just unpacking a lot of that, and just being comfortable and sharing my truth. But I'm still human, and I still have emotions, and I still have triggers. And you know, I think about, I really want a family one day, I really want children one day, but I only want children if I can be healthy to them, if I can give them the childhood that I feel like I didn't have, you know what I mean? And so, you know, it is important that I go see a therapist, because these are issues that are obviously stemming up again. And so I need to address them. And so, you know, me and my best friend, we decided to take a little break, because I think we're both just going through stuff. We're both going through like work situations. I know she's dealing with a lot, stressful with work. And, you know, we both had similar childhood traumas to abusive, narcissistic mothers, and just being bullied, and just never not fitting in. And this isn't the first time that we've had where we took in breaks. I mean, like in college, like early college, I had and this brings me to my another point, is like seasons of loneliness. Because in college, she was going through a lot, and I was going through my own, but not nearly to like what she was experiencing. We often experience the same thing, but just kind of like at different times. So she had her narcissistic boyfriend in college, and that was when I was single. And so now I have my narcissistic boyfriend, and she was single. And so, you know, we're usually having the same experience, but at different times. But at that time, she was dealing with like a narcissistic boyfriend, and then her narcissistic mother. And then I have my other best friend, and he was just MIA. He was going through his own stuff. And so at that time, I was really alone. I was alone. Like, and my mom, she was dating some guy at the time, and she was like never home, like literally, like she was spending the night over there like weeks at a time. And so I was alone a lot. And so I think that this is going to be another season of loneliness for me, for my best friend, because and I don't think that there's anything wrong with that, but it is triggering, because it's like, for me, I don't have a lot. Like I don't speak to my family because obviously, you know, there's like an unwillingness to be, you know, speak honestly and realize that, okay, y'all fucked up and that we all need help. And that's okay, but we all need help, and we need to acknowledge that we all need help. We need to acknowledge where we've, you know, went wrong. And so they don't want to do that, so I can't, you know, I can't reason with them. And you know, by nature of just the things that have happened to me, I just, my nature of conversations tend to be a lot deeper, a lot complex. I don't really like shallow conversations. I don't like small talk. I don't like being friends with people for select reasons. Like, oh, I only hang out with so and so because we go out and that's it, or we do this. Like I have to have like a friend that I can talk to about everything, and so that's my best friend. And unfortunately for me, like my other best friends, they end up having, you know, battling very, you know, just addictions, and so just I had to like kind of end those friendships. And so I really only have my best friend. And so you know, that's just, I feel like I'm entering this season of loneliness again, because I don't want to bleed onto her, and I don't want to bring my problems onto her. And likewise, you know, she doesn't want to bleed onto me. She doesn't want to put her problems onto me. She has to focus on herself, and I have to focus on myself. And there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's the beautiful thing about having like a real, honest, genuine friend, is that you understand those times, those sensitive times, and it hurts, it is emotional, but it is necessary sometimes. Like sometimes you can just be at a different phase, and it doesn't mean that you're not friends anymore. It just means that you have to take time to heal yourself and just deal with what you need to deal with. And I think that's just something that we know about each other, and so that's why we just decided we'd just take a break, because it's hard when we're very both emotional people, just because of the things that we've experienced. And so you can't be like emotional at the same time and then just kind of like, you know, you don't want to put that on that person. So I have made an appointment with a therapist. So I'm going to therapy, and I'm going to talk about my childhood. I'm going to talk about the things that I've been experiencing and how it's just building up inside of me, and just the effect that it's having on me. And I think that it's just important sometimes, and sometimes you need that help. Sometimes you need to speak to people about what you're going through, so that you don't carry that weight yourself, and that you're finding different methods to heal yourself. And like I said, I've done a tremendous amount of work. Okay, I have so many tarot decks, y'all. Like, hold on. Let me show y'all how many tarot decks I have. And these are really, really good. Okay, if you really need messages, and you guys know I speak all the time. I have psychics, I talk to God every single day, I talk to my spirit guides, and they like, so this is my self-care deck, my self-care deck. So it's like, it says stuff like, act on your biggest dreams, have fun, don't change who you are for other people, stop trying to save everybody, you know, never feel ashamed to feel or show emotions. I get this one a lot because I'm so sensitive, and I just try to keep that down. Leave room in your life for miracles. I don't really get this card a lot, but I do get it sometimes. Like when I talked about how I had made this calendar timeline, and the partner really liked it. She really liked it. And so they're gonna present it to the EO office, and I had got this card that week, and that was the week the partner was like, wow. Yeah, so, you know, these have like, you know, you're so loved. Like this week I got, even when you don't see it, you're very beautiful. And I knew that was my spirit guides, because I've just been real sensitive this week. So this one's good. Some days you must push yourself even when it feels hard. Like this is a really good self-care deck that I use like for the week. I usually just draw like 5 or 6 cards for the week. Just what messages do I really need? Like sometimes it has one that's like, never apologize for needing to rest, because sometimes we just push ourselves and we don't take breaks. And then I have like the traditional tarot deck. And this is really good. Like tarots are really good when you need help with a decision, or you need help understanding like where you're at with your own energy. So usually I do like a card for self, I have a card for love, and then I have a card for work. Oops. So I have like just the traditional, but I have mine in cats, because I have cats and I love cats, and so it's easier for me to kind of understand them with, you know, with cats. And then I have like a shadow deck. So this shows you like your shadow personalities that are coming out. And when I had got into it with my best friend, I had pulled the shadow card, and I had got like emotionally, I think it was like just emotionally overreacting. Okay. And that was my cue that, okay, it's me, you know what I mean? And so, and I think these are why these are really good, because it helps you to understand like your own intuition. I mean, like your own energy, instead of like, you know, reading off of your own important, because if your energy is not right, then you're not going to be able to read a situation clearly. And so I love tarots because they let you know what your energy is really saying. And so in that situation, I was like, no, you're being insensitive. And then I get this and it's like, no, you're emotionally overreacting. And that was certainly the case. Then I have like this bucket deck. and so I have to say, these are different. So these are considered oracle decks, and then like you actually have your tarot deck, but these are considered oracle decks, and I like to use them kind of like all together. And so this one's like calm. It says like calm the fuck down and take a break. Maybe it's because they are mean and stupid, you know, it's okay to say hell no. It's like because the law of attraction fucked with you. Positive thoughts create positive shit in your life. So this is just like really good sometimes, like, you know what I mean? I like it because it's just blunt, and it's like, I cuss a lot. So I really like this one. And then I have like this scoop deck, which I just got, but I don't know if I'll use it that much. But it's got like little things like someone's copying you, you're a muse, your inspiration is someone, balance, you should sage, fork in a road, blah blah blah. So I just like, these are really helpful, and I have so many decks, and this is something that's helped me a lot with my own emotions, with my own energy, with understanding like my own triggers and how to work through certain situations or certain problems that I'm having. And especially because, you know, like sometimes we can hear God quite loud and clear, and then other times, you know, you're having trouble because you're dealing with your own emotions, and it's making you misread situations. And so I love tarot decks, I love oracle decks, because they're going to give you the actual messages that you need to hear, even if you don't want to hear it sometimes. So that's kind of like where I'm at in life right now, and kind of just what I've been experiencing. And so I'm gonna try to get back on my schedule, because this is like a long video, but I'm gonna try to get back on my schedule and start posting more. So thank you guys for watching. As always, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and if you this video resonated with you, please feel free to comment. Thank you guys. Bye.